Next on The Broadway Show, This is the Good Place. William Jackson Harper is on Broadway, and he's here talking with me about his Tony-nominated turn in Uncle Vanya.
It's a matter of extreme importance, my first teenage love affair.
Plus, an exclusive musical performance from one of the Tony-nominated stars of Hell's Kitchen, Shoshana Bean. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show. We're on the road to the Tony Awards. Let's get started. I'm Tamsen Fadal. The revival of Uncle Vanya is now on Broadway, a star-studded production. It's Steve Carell's Broadway debut in the title role. And for William Jackson Harper, it's his first Tony nomination. That's why Broadway is the good place. Check it out. It's good to see you. It's good to see you back on Broadway.
Hey.
How has it been so far?
It's great. No, I'm having a great time just doing this play that's such a challenge.
Yeah.
I'm like, the Broadway of it is part of it, but really it's just like the part in the play itself and this cast that's really like, really intriguing for me.
I was thinking about it. I came to see it Saturday night, and I was like, there's so many people on stage all at the same time, which is an amazing kind of how everybody moves around each other,
Yeah.
But also there's a lot of intensity in the dialogue and in the characters. How did you get into this role and really study it? Because it's been done so many times now that we've seen a lot of different people in those roles.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've never seen Uncle Vanya. I've only read it, and I've read a few different translations, and I honestly avoided other performances because the other performances I knew of were by actors that I really respected. Like, I'm gonna steal from them, like directly, if I watch their performances.
Okay.
And so I just read it, and we just kind of crafted a lot of stuff in the room just with the energy of the cast.
I don't know that I've ever seen a play like this with so many people on stage doing all different things at the same time. Like I was very aware of that for some reason.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, so am I. I'm not.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
It's better you be aware than me.
Yeah, but I mean, it is sort of odd. I feel like since I've done a lot of off-Broadway shows and smaller shows with smaller casts, usually there's not that many people on stage. It's not like a ton of activity and a bunch of life happening. And so it's unique for me, but it's also one of those things where everyone was just trying all these granular little things and these tiny changes here and there that, I'm like, I wonder how much the audience is going to key in on this stuff, but it's really important, and it really does sort of ground the reality for us, which allows us to stay locked in.
I mean, me as an audience member did, and I especially think because everything was very lit up, and I felt like I was seeing the audience. I mean, I'm sure you're seeing them, but they're so close.
Yeah.
Like at some points they're so close. They're like sitting there, in one part, and I thought, wow, like they're right up there in your face.
Yeah. No, it's an exercise in staying focused because I mean, actually, even last night there was in the last act, I'm doing the scene with Steve, and he's sitting in the chair doing like this, and right behind him I just see this guy like just leaning to the side, and I just see like Steve's head and this other guy's head, and they're like the same size, and they're right in my, I'm like trying my best to stay focused, but it's just, I mean, he's just watching the play and having a good time, but I'm just like, God, this guy's, he's in the scene with us right now, and
He's here now.
He can't be, but
You
he
can't
is.
unsee it.
I can't unsee it. I can't unsee this guy just kind of grinning, just like, wow, where's this going,
Get ready to rumble. It's unlike anything you've seen before. The Outsiders, now on Broadway. The Outsiders, nominated for 12 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. Here's Paul Wontorek.
This was a really complicated season.
Yeah.
There's a lot of musicals on Broadway.
Yeah.
There are a lot of acting choices for all of these categories.
Right.
But actually finding out that morning, can you just like sort of give me the nugget of emotions there?
I wasn't watching because I just didn't expect to get a nomination. Yeah. And so I got a call and I opened it and they're like, hey, there's a nomination for you. And I was like, for the show? And they're like, no, for Best Supporting Actor. I jumped up in the air. I ran around my apartment like 50 times. I called my mom and I was like, can you please just read this list just to make sure I'm not delusional? And she was like, your name is on the list, honey. Your name is on the list. And I just freaked out.
It's a really special show because there's something, it's not very like musical. Like it's not really like telling people to love it.
Right, exactly.
It has a lot of confidence to it. How do you sort of describe that and what's happening in the theater every night?
I kind of feel like we're in a terrarium and we're existing and acting for each other, and I'm never like putting my chest out to the audience. Right. I'm sort of just being Johnny and being Sky and listening and answering to Josh Boone and Brody or whoever I'm with. And I think that it's rare that musicals ever do that. Ask you to lean in instead of making audiences lean back, which is the kind of musicals I like to do.
Do you feel like you're now being welcomed into a different part of the club? And
I feel like it's the next level of theater. I feel like the young boys are coming in and we're putting our foothold in it and making our own name and just shaking things up a little bit, which I think is a beautiful thing to happen.
What does it mean for you to actually have that pin? Not everyone knows they're getting a pin, but you're officially a Tony nominee.
Yeah, I haven't dissected that yet. I think in the interim, I just hope it means that somebody really felt something.
Yeah.
Because you never really know that, and this is maybe a sign or witness towards that, and I'm stuck a little bit. I'm appreciative, I'm grateful, I'm humble, Yeah, I just hope people are feeling things. I just want new. Mm-hmm. I want fresh, I want further, I want more, I want deeper. Yeah. And I feel like this show offers all of that, and I'm grateful that it feels like that's being received.
You are fantastic in the show.
Thanks.
And you are totally pulling off the greaser thing. I know you said greaser on your fist. I love it. But at the end of the day, I also know that if I met Brody 10 years ago, nerdy theater boy, major nerdy theater boy. So talk about that boy reacting to if he got a snapshot of us sitting here right now and you're a Tony nominee in front of this.
That dude would probably faint. He would probably just faint. Yeah, and you know what's beautiful is I look back at that kid who never had grace for himself, didn't know how to give himself credit, and deeply insecure. And to get to look back at that kid now and say, hey, just keep going. It's just a beautiful thing to reflect on, because theater at that time for me, just like for Ponyboy, movies and art is an escape for him. That was my escape,
Let's hear it for New York. The hit songs of Alicia Keys, now on Broadway, just a few blocks from where the singer-songwriter grew up. It's Hell's Kitchen.
This girl is on fire.
Hell's Kitchen is this year's most nominated musical at this year's Tony Awards, with 13 nods, including Best Musical. Now here's an exclusive musical performance from one of the Tony-nominated stars of Hell's Kitchen, Shoshana Bean.
Can't wait to get home and baby dial your number. Can you pick up the phone? 'Cause I wanna holler. Ooh, daydreaming about you all day in school. I can't concentrate. Wanna have your voice in my ear till mama come and say it's too late. 'Cause the lights are on outside. Wish I was somewhere to hide. 'Cause I just don't want to say goodbye. 'Cause you are my baby, baby. Nothing really matters. I don't really care what nobody tell me. I'm gonna be here. It's a matter of extreme importance. My first teenage love affair. I love our secret meetings on the 5th floor staircase. I wanna give you this letter of all the things I can't say. Want you to be my first, my last, my ending, my beginning. I write your name in my book, your last name, my first. I'm your business. The lights are on outside. Wish there was somewhere to hide. I just don't want to say goodbye. 'Cause you are my baby, baby. Nothing really matters. I don't really care what nobody tell me.
Welcome to Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, a sinister and visionary new revival of the classic Broadway musical, now open on Broadway. There's no other way to describe this experience other than totally immersive. You're actually in the Kit Kat Club. Here's Beth Stevens with another edition of Building Broadway.
Thanks, Tamsin. Scenic and costume designer Tom Scott was nominated for 2 Tony Awards for transforming Broadway's August Wilson Theater into the Kit Kat Club. Let's go inside the immersive world of cabaret. Thank you for inviting us into the Kit Kat Club. Obviously, we know cabaret takes place in Weimar, Berlin in 1930s, but we're on 52nd Street, but I don't know where we are. We could be anywhere.
Great. I wanted it to feel like artists, creatives, queer culture had sort of taken over a building that was part of the mainstream, I suppose, and subverted it slightly. So that does, of course, have connotations of 1920s Berlin. It also has many different connotations over the 20th, 21st century. And there are touch points that I've sort of lent into slightly from all sorts of different eras, and just to create something that feels dreamlike, I suppose. I wanted it to sort of feel transportive and that we're being taken somewhere else and someplace else at a different time, but not necessarily completely sort of nail down or be specific about when that is.
All right, here we are going into the Vault Bar.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful space, but it looks like this is one of the areas where you got to use the artists that you were talking about.
Yeah, for sure. And also some of the original details from here. I mean, obviously this theatre has had many, many renovations over the last 100 years. So a huge part of this job was not only what are we going to bring in, but also what are we going to bring out and what are we going to celebrate and use rather than try to cover up. And I think that sort of speaks somewhat to the whole endeavour anyway. You know, how much are we pulling from history and how much are we sort of adding onto it.
Okay, so now we're in the Red Bar. It's very quiet in here right now, but when I came to see cabaret, it was bodies and drinking, and in all of that, you have these beautiful paintings. So tell me about them.
Okay, so these are amazing commissions by this extraordinary artist, Jonathan Linden Chase, and I really love about this project trying to find artists who are sort of adjacent to theatre or slightly related to it in some way in their work is sort of represented, but not quite in the same world. And just fusing. I think so much of this project is about doing that. It's like interfacing theatre with fashion, with architecture, with hospitality, and with fine artists.
We've made it. We're in the Green Bar. You know a designer is committed when you dress the tables and the ceiling and the bar and so much.
It's slightly obsessive, isn't it? One of the things we've got in here is this board that we've made behind the bar, which we've got illustrations from Eddie and Gail and Stephen Skybell of their own cabaret eyes, which they've signed. And so we sort of like to build it up. So it just has this kind of historical feel, yeah.
Okay, we made it here into the theater. Now we have to talk about the cabaret tables, which is true of most productions of cabaret because it's part of the show.
Yeah, I really, really love these here.
And they're different from London.
They're totally different from London. But yeah, you can sit at the front of the space. You can get a phone call from members of the company.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Who may or may not be seeing you from somewhere in the building, although you won't be able to see them. So that's like quite, you know, that's part of the fun of the eye concept, I suppose,
right.
In a way. There's not a bad seat here. And you can feel it. You can feel the energy of the crowd. It's really responding to it. They feel seen. You feel part of it. You feel almost like you're making it happen in some way, and that you're a character inside the piece.
It's award season for the stars of the stage, the Tonys, now just weeks away. But we're also excited about the future of Broadway, the stars of tomorrow, the Jimmy Awards.
We're one of a kind, no category, too many years, must be story.
The Jimmy Awards is a huge and amazing event that happens in New York City every year, featuring the absolute best of the best musical theater talents from high schools all across America. Now on the lead up to the Jimmys, the Broadway show shines a spotlight on the students and the cities and the impact these competitions and awards have on those amazing teens.
My name is Holly Valentine. I am the Director of Education in Rochester, New York, with Rochester Broadway Theater League's Stars of Tomorrow program. So this year we have 45 schools in our immediate and outlying county area. They're so special, and when you go into these, especially some of the smaller communities that are engaged with us, the sense of camaraderie and family and the energy at their level is the same as the energy here for the Jimmy Awards. And what we really love is we see at the Jimmy Awards how kids will go on and make their futures. Well, it needs to start at their high school level, and yes, this is the ultimate goal, and we all want to get here. But we can start in our communities and in our schools and shine the light on those kids and the programs that are happening out there.
New York City Center is celebrating 30 years of Encores. It's the 30th anniversary of the beloved musical revival series, culminating with Titanic. Here's Perry Sook with more.
Thanks, Tamsin. For 30 years, City Center has been wowing its audiences with encore productions. But just as impressive as the onstage production is the massive undertaking behind the scenes. For the next couple of weeks, I'll be taking you behind the scenes of the making of Titanic. Guys, Encores is just one of my favorite things. It has been ever since I moved to the city. And here we are in the 30th season, celebrating, going out with a bang with this epic Titanic. Can you guys just kind of talk about the excitement of this seminal year for the Encores program?
Yes, so we've had an incredible year at Encore, celebrating 30 years of bringing musical theater to New York City, musical revivals. And the center of Encores is really a focus on the score of great musicals from the past. We love musicals and we love the history of musical theater, and part of what we're doing is inviting the great artists of our time to sort of bring their full self to these great musicals and bring them to an audience today.
How do you go about picking, what shows are going to be? I know we have this amazing season closing out with Titanic. Once Upon a Matrix was also absolutely phenomenal. But now we just announced the 31st season. Where do you go in picking what these pieces are going to be to showcase?
For us, it's really like, well, what intergenerationally, what are people not aware of and what are people wanting? And so when we think about a season, we think about the community that we've invited to City Center, and also really like what yet needs to be rediscovered by generations post that particular material.
What led to the decision to pick Titanic in particular to close out this, anniversary season?
I think the score of Titanic is the reason we programmed it. It's an exquisite score that represents so much of the best possibilities of musical theater. I mean, what Maury Yeston achieved here is just phenomenal. And I think that we also felt like, because the score itself tells the story so well, that it would actually be well suited. It didn't actually need a ton of moving scenery, that it actually could live very beautifully with our Encore setup.
The piece is epic. The subject matter is epic. These voices that we've cast are epic. Orchestra is going to be epic. And again, this is a very beloved piece of musical theater. And so I feel very responsible for and excited for the audiences to come and sort of hear what they love, what has made them fall in love with the piece.
This is the first show I ever saw on Broadway, so it has a lot of nostalgia for me personally, and I listen to the songs and I'm just kind of swept back to that era of my life, and it was really when my love of the theater was born around that time too. And so being able to do something that has a huge cast where there are tons of people, there's a huge orchestra, feels really exciting to me too.
Hello, my name is Danny Burgos. I play Santiago in the national tour of Moulin Rouge, and this is a day in the life. It's a beautiful day here in Milwaukee, along with a beautiful walk to the theater. We're at the Marcus Center for the Performing Arts, and I'm going to give you a little backstage tour. Standing right outside the theater, we have one of our 9 trucks reminding the audience that we did win Best Musical and they're in for a good time. So this is my dressing room here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. One of the things that I like to do for myself from city to city is write some words of encouragement on my mirror. I use some chalk markers, and it just helps keep me grounded. I also travel this pizza mat with me that was made for me by one of the heads of wardrobe on Your Feet when I was on tour way back in 2017. These are some of my amazing costumes that I get to wear in the show, designed by Catherine Zuber, Tony Award winning costume designer. But they don't look so great on the rack, so let me throw one on for you. It's a 2-show day. It's time for a matinee.
1, 2, 3. My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure.
Thanks for joining me for a day in the life of the Moulin Rouge National Tour here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We head to Omaha, Nebraska next. We're going to be there from May 28th until June 9th. We'll be at the Orpheum Theater. See you there.
That's all for now. I'll see you next time. I'm Tamsin Fidel, and this is The Broadway Show.